Right guys, so we're not going to do the whole installation. You've seen the installation videos already. All I want to do is show you the start. I've got my blue tape ready. I've got a flap which comes off the wrapper from a previous installation. So that's the flap, and here's the loose flap. I've got that and I'm ready. So very important guys, poly. We've done our moisture tests, we've done our flatness tests. All the subfloor prep is done. You start laying. Poly, very important, and I like to always bring it up behind the baseboard, because if you're getting moisture coming through the wall, from the side, it'll go run down the plastic and underneath instead of running into your floor. So please guys, and make sure your plastics are overlapped by about a foot if you've got a joint. Right, so there's two ways to start. If this is the first time you've ever used the Elastilon and you don't have these wrappers from a previous installation, you've got to create a flap. So to create a flap, it's a little bit of wastage, but it is what it is. And you can possibly drop this in installation at another time, but you normally put in 10% for wastage, so that should cover the start in this case. So what we'll do, I like to lay about 3 boards in the start. So it'll be the width of 3 boards plus say 6 inches, so I've got something to pull on. Because you can't lay directly on the mat, it's too sticky, you'll never position yourself right. So it's very important you lay on the flap, and then you've got time to position, blue tape everything, and when it's all taped and tight, then you can pull and you continue going. And you saw that video where it's 8 lines at once, and this is the process towards that. Because the longer this flap gets, the more lines you can lay. Right, so let's pull back and let's start off with a bit of wastage, because this is the first time you're going to be installing on Elastilon, so the first time you have not got these wrappers. So here we go. So there we go, a little bit of wastage unfortunately on the first time, so here it goes. Just cut that in the corner. Be careful when you're cutting that you're not cutting your plastic. Right, so as I said, there's a possibility of maybe dropping this in later, but it's a small piece. Right, so here guys, we've created our first starting flap. So the question is now, if you've got flaps from a previous installation, check out for 3 boards, maybe it's a very wide plank, maybe 2 boards, measure it and double it. So you've got a flap, and you can fold that simply in half, because you're going to need that to your start. So I'll show you how to do this now without wastage. So you peel back the wrapper off the mat, and this is where we're going to now place this dummy flap over here. It's as simple as that. So here you've got our dummy flap, which will eventually get onto the main flap, and here we've got the main flap all the way. So the first lines will go on here, and once we get to the end of this dummy flap, it'll simply disappear and you'll be then on the main wrapper. So right, I'm going to start installing. So I've wrecked the floor. So the first board, I like always to lay tongue facing out, because you're going to tap a board, you're going to tap on the tongue, and tongue facing, so the tongue is always facing direction that you're laying. So there's the first board. There's the second board. The third board. And as you see, I've pre-racked it, I've got it all. And you would need to put in here some spacers. So normally it's the thickness of a board for your expansion joint. So always put your spacers for your expansion joint. Don't forget that. Right, so that's the first line. Now I'm going to put in the next 3 lines and then blue tape and pull the wrappers back. Right, so here come the next lines. Right, so we've got the first 3 lines in. Now it's time for the special tape, the blue tape. Guys, make sure when you're using blue tape that you pull it with some good pressure so it actually holds it together. It's no use just putting it there for show. It needs to have some pullback, so stretch it across the boards. You stretch it across the boards, and that's the real way, which I've learned now. It's not tight, now's the time to tighten it, because once you've put it on the sticky side, it's done. You can always tighten an end match joint by using a crowbar with a block against the wall and just tapping it. That you can always do. But to tighten a joint like this is virtually impossible. So make sure it's tight before. Right, guys, so here we go. We're all blue taped, we're happy everything's fine. In fact, what I'm going to do, I'm going to put an expansion joint in also so we do it properly. Let's do the expansion joint. A little bit more blue tape here. Right. Okay, we're good. 3/4 expansion. Happy? All you do now, guys, is just pull. And I like to keep it just underneath, or even underneath a board, 1 or 2 boards, doesn't matter. Because if you pull it out too much, like that, you're going to just have to tuck it back in again. Now the problem with tucking it back in again, if by mistake it gets caught here in the tongue and groove, in the tongue, the next board comes in here, that is wedged, you're not going to pull it out. So if you do pull it out too far, guys, as they say, simply tuck it back in again. As this gets longer and longer, you can lay more and more lines. Right, so now we're on the loose starter flap. So the loose starter flap, let's pull this one out. And guys, it's a simple, let me just get it going here. Right, you can put a bit of pressure. Now that mat is now out, and we are on the main flap. So that's the reason for the starter. It stops the wastage. So I'm going to give you another scenario now. Is what happens when you get to the end of the mat. So I'm going to just cut the mat over here. So if you've got an old mat, an existing mat, and you've got the new mat joining onto, how do you handle that situation? Well, it's very simple. You handle it exactly the same way as you handle the dummy flap. You peel off again. You peel it back, and you simply use the dummy flap again, and you continue your installation. So guys, you can walk on this floor at all times. It's sticky. It's sticky. Be careful, don't stand on the mat. So guys, stand in it as you want. This floor, as I like to say, stuck for life. So we've done 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 lines on this floor. There's some wide boards, narrow boards. It's a multi-width floor. And now we're going to stick this section down. So all I'm going to do, I'll put my blue tape, keep everything together, and just pull it and roll. Simple as that. And as I'm doing this, so the floor is being stuck down for life. Pull it and roll. Right, that's it. Now I can just put a bit of pressure. Stuck for life. There you go, on Elastilon.